Alright, time to finally sit down and start practicing some anime. What? Who are you? So, in case you couldn't tell, I am a cartoon artist. And drawing cartoons means that most of the time I don't have to worry about having right proportions because, well, cartoons are all wiggly and wobbly, just like this guy here. So, this is the exact reason why I decided to challenge myself to learn to draw anime in 1 week. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and draw some anime, shall we? Alright, here's day 1, and today I decided to practice drawing some heads. I can't really learn to draw anime in 1 week without some sort of plan, so that's why I decided to assign each day of the week with a body part. So for Monday, I learned to draw heads, on Tuesday, I learned to draw the basic structure of the body, Wednesday, I learned to draw hands, and so on. So back to drawing heads, this day was not as hard as I thought it would be, actually. The only issue I had while drawing heads is I think I pressed undo so many times that I burnt a hole through my iPad. Probably half the time I was drawing was pressing the undo button. But hey, eventually I got it. Once I actually got back to drawing instead of pressing the undo button 50,000 times, I was basically coasting. I was just sitting at my desk listening to some nice music and drawing a bunch of heads. And I mean a lot of heads. I think I drew maybe at least one, but if I had to guess, probably 15. And for someone who absolutely never draws anatomically correct heads, this was a challenge for me. I found this website where you can basically just get a head model and pose it to whatever angle you want, so that's what I used for drawing most of these more realistic heads. This study here wasn't as much anime as it was realism, but it was basically just to learn the basic structure of the head because I never really studied it before. Another thing that I did daily was searching up a tutorial on how to draw the specific body part that I was drawing. So I basically searched up a video on how to draw heads, and then I took what the tutorial said and applied it to my drawings. So like how to draw the eyes and how far to space them and that kind of stuff. I think it did wonders, and these heads are a lot better than they were before, I'll say that much. Hey, here we are. It's day 2, and very funnily, this was the second hardest day for me. I think it's pretty self-explanatory why it was so hard to draw, I think, 4 bodies in a realistic way. Now listen, I know anime isn't realism, but it's a lot closer to realism than cartoon is, so this was a lot harder for me. I can only imagine my dad's confusion when he walked in and saw me looking at an anime person for a reference.
Are you winning, son?
How does this make you feel?
I don't know, Doc. I just feel like everything is blowing up in my face. I had to see if both arms were actually the same length instead of just stretching one out really far. I had to check if the legs were long enough to see if they fit with the body. I mean, there was just a lot of stuff that I had to check and things that I don't usually think about that were a lot more apparent whenever I got them wrong in this kind of style. Since most of us see people every day, it's very easy to tell when a certain body part is out of proportion or it just doesn't look quite right. I mean, look at this guy. He has pretty big hands and he has pretty enlarged feet, but he looks normal because he's a cartoon. But if I applied these proportions to an anime character, yeah, it does not look right. No, that doesn't look right. No, I'm getting rid of that. No. Being an artist is pretty fun because you can just draw whatever wacky idea comes to your mind, but some other times you're just having to sit there and wonder how this abomination came onto your page. It's almost like you sit down on the chair and then pass out for an hour and all of a sudden you're halfway done drawing this random thing that you thought about half an hour ago. Sometimes it's pretty fun to just be walking down the hallway or something, and then this absolutely amazing idea comes into your mind, and you just can't help but laugh because of how stupid it will look. But anyways, that's day 2 finished. There's a reason why I said day 2 was the second hardest, and that's because here it is, the bane of every artist's existence. I had to draw hands.
Super Luigi Galaxy!
I was absolutely dreading this day, but it had to come at some point, and here it is. No more sausage fingers, no more fat gloves. It's just me staring at a realistic hand and having to draw it. In all seriousness though, this day was actually pretty fun and I didn't expect it to be. Something I'm starting to notice about myself is that I like when things are a very good challenge. It makes me have to think extra hard about what I'm doing and not just kind of coast. One reason why this video took so long to come out is because I recently just started playing Hollow Knight. You know, with all the Silksong stuff, I just had to try Hollow Knight at least once, and might I say, it's my favorite game. Now, the reason why I mention Hollow Knight is because there's a certain area in the game called the Path of Pain, and some of you will know what I'm talking about. Just think of Mario, but you have to run through a bunch of chainsaws and spikes, and if you get hit once, then you have to go back to the last platform you stood on. Yeah, I did the Path of Pain for 4 hours before I completed it. But after I finally completed it, I kind of just sat there and was like, you know what? I actually kind of liked that. There's a certain feeling you get when you complete something that you've been trying for so long, and then you finally get it and you're like, yes, I finally did it! Yeah, that's basically the experience I had while drawing hands here. It was just drawing a line, pressing undo because it didn't look right, looking at the reference, drawing another line, and then I'm like, yes, that's finally it. Now on to the next line, and the next 100 lines. Hands are just so unbearably complicated to draw, because you first have to realize that there's a 3D object, so there has to be perspective to it. And then after that, you have to take into account how the fingers overlap with each other, and then you have to take into account how much they can bend so that it doesn't look unnatural. It's just a whole thing. Hey, here we are. It's my favorite day. Hair. Just gotta whip up a head real quick. And now I can draw some hair. First, I drew a line where the hair will start from, and then I was ready to go. So, hair. We all know about it, and it's the stuff that comes out of our hair that gets stuck in cabinets all the time. What? No? Just me? Okay. It's a pretty complicated thing to try and draw, and that's why a lot of people get it wrong sometimes. Maybe they'll sit down and say, oh, well, hair is just a bunch of strands, so why don't I just draw a bunch of strands? And you end up doing that, and you realize, oh, that doesn't look right. Trying to wrap your head around how to draw hair is actually pretty hard. One thing that a lot of people fall into is literally just drawing every strand individually. And yes, that might logically be how hair is made, but it's actually just basically a bunch of funny shaped clumps. So the way I decided to draw hair is basically drawing a bunch of these clumps and then adding some details on after. Well, would you look at that? I'm already on day 5. The hardest days are behind me, and the rest is just coasting, is what I would say if I was lying to myself. Today was basically the study of how to draw eyes, and anime eyes are very different from realism, and anyone who's drawn anime as opposed to realism would know that very well. Now yes, there are some anime styles where it's very realistic, but it's still kind of anime, but this is not what I'm drawing. I'm drawing a very heavily stylized anime, and this was kind of hard to wrap my head around. If you're like me and have been drawing these kind of cartoon eyes your entire life, then trying to draw any other style of eyes that's semi-realistic, or at least a little bit closer, it's kind of like getting hit by a train. I mean, what the heck even are these? Eyelashes? I haven't had to worry about drawing those ever. But all of a sudden, anime comes along and is like, no, these actually exist and you probably have to draw them for them to look nice. Not just eyelashes, but the actual reflections in the eyes were incredibly hard to actually get them to look at least semi-decent. And I can't even tell if they look decent because I don't watch anime. If this video gains any kind of traction, I am expecting for there to be at least some comments saying, that's not anime, that's not even close. And to that I would say, well, I tried, didn't I? To me, at least getting myself to draw and try was a lot better than just sitting there and be like, no, it's too hard. I'll never get it right. But to me, I think I did get it kind of right. I mean, the anime. I'm not talking about what I'm drawing right now. He's just Bill. You don't have to worry about Bill. He's just being Bill. I mean, you can't get mad at Bill. I got a little bit sidetracked there, but, you know, this was a pretty good day of practice, if I do say so myself. Here we are on day 7. The final day, and the day where I have to put everything I learned into one drawing. I think I probably should have specified earlier. This is the hardest day. The hands and the body were just the hardest practice days. This was the actual hardest day. I don't think I actually realized the magnitude of what I was trying to do until I actually sat down and I was like, oh yeah, I actually have to draw it now. I'm not lying, I think the sketch itself took me, an hour and a half. And that's not even counting the line art or the rendering and coloring. Whenever I actually sat down and looked at all of the footage in this video, it added up to 9 hours of drawing footage. So for 3 days, I sat down and edited 9 hours of footage down to 14 minutes. But if I'm being honest with myself, I think half of that was just pressing the undo button. It was so difficult to get all of the elements of this drawing to look good together. The footage you're seeing right here is me trying to draw hands at 50 times speed. And another problem I ran into was trying to make the body not kind of like squished, almost like a cartoon. If you look at most of my cartoon characters, they are all kind of like squished down and pretty short, and they have kind of like fatter limbs. But this one, I had to intentionally think every 2 seconds, is this actually like a realistic human height? This isn't squished at all, this is normal. Between the hands and the body proportions, by the end of this, I was absolutely worn out. But I enjoyed every second of drawing this. I know it might seem like I'm contradicting myself a little bit here, but it actually was really fun to draw this. It was very out of my comfort zone, and it was really fun to have a nice challenge. It was almost like a breath of fresh air from drawing cartoons all the time. And drawing in different art styles is probably something I'll be doing a lot more often. If you're ever bored and you just don't know what to draw, I really suggest stepping out of your comfort zone a little bit. Maybe if you're bored of drawing anime all the time, you can try drawing cartoons. It's good to step out of your comfort zone both ways. In my opinion, it's a very, very good exercise to, just try something that you haven't done before. And who knows, maybe it might even improve your own art style, even though it's not the kind of style that you like to draw in. For example, these hands here have actually helped me a lot when I'm drawing cartoons, because I understand the structure of the hand a lot more, and I can see how to stylize it to make it look more appealing. It's almost kind of like a learn the rules before you break them kind of thing. Many times whenever I go to my friend's house, I tell him to draw things that are outside of his comfort zone, and whenever he doesn't feel like drawing, I'm like, well, that's the best time to draw, whenever you don't feel like it. A lot of the time, I'll just be sitting there watching something, and then I'm like, you know what, I should probably just get up and draw, because it's kind of not good to just sit down and do nothing all day. And look at this finished line art. It definitely helped a lot. But anyways, I think I've probably talked your guys' ear off, so I'm just gonna let you guys sit here and watch me color this thing. Thank you so much for sticking around for so long and watching this whole video. I know it was a lot, but it was really fun to make. It's really satisfying whenever I finish a video that I've been working on for I think 4 weeks now, and just pressing that release button and I'm like, oh, it's finally done. And then, I have another video to make, but it's satisfying for the moment. Oh, also, just like before, you can suggest something for me to draw down below, because I will be making another video where I draw your guys' comments. But with that being said, I want to thank you guys for sticking around for so long, and hope you guys have a good day. See ya!